Before the lion's roar echoes and the screen fades into story, there's a studio that quietly rewrote the rules of modern filmmaking. Lionsgate didn't begin as one of Hollywood's historic giants. It started as a bold outsider, an independent studio with big ambitions and an eye for stories others might pass on. Over the years, that outsider spirit became its greatest strength. From low-budget horror films that shocked audiences to global blockbuster franchises that defined a generation, Lionsgate built its identity on risk, reinvention, and relentless storytelling. Welcome to Cinema Uncovered, the series where we go behind the logos, the legends, and the cinematic empires that shape the movies we love. Today, we're stepping into the world of Lionsgate Studios, a company that transformed from a small distribution outfit into a major force in film, television, and streaming. You've heard its name attached to intense thrillers, action-packed sagas, and award-winning dramas. But the real story behind Lionsgate is one of persistent strategy and a willingness to bet on stories that stand out. In an industry dominated by century-old studios, Lionsgate proved that a newcomer could compete by thinking differently. It embraced independent filmmakers, built loyal fan bases through unforgettable franchises, and adapted quickly to the changing ways audiences watch entertainment. From the chilling traps of Saw to the revolutionary uprising of the Hunger Games and the stylish action of John Wick, Lionsgate has consistently delivered stories that leave a mark on pop culture. But how did this one small studio grow into a global powerhouse? What choices shaped its path, and what secrets lie behind its success? In this episode, we'll uncover the journey of Lionsgate, from its early beginnings to its rise as a franchise-building machine. We'll explore the creative risks that paid off, the films that changed everything, and the storytelling philosophy that defines the studio today. So grab your popcorn, settle in, and get ready to go behind the roar, because this is the story of Lionsgate Studios, Uncovered. Long before Lionsgate became a recognizable name in blockbuster cinema, it started as a small, ambitious company navigating the competitive world of independent film. Founded in 1997, the studio took its name from the iconic Lionsgate Bridge in Vancouver, Canada, an early reminder of its roots outside the traditional Hollywood system. At the time, the film industry was dominated by major studios with decades of history and massive resources. Lionsgate, by comparison, entered the scene as a newcomer with a different strategy. Focus on independent films, acquire strong stories, and build a library that could grow in value over time. In its early years, Lionsgate concentrated on film distribution and acquisitions, picking up projects from film festivals and independent producers. This approach allowed the company to release diverse and unconventional films that might not have found a home with bigger studios. By taking chances on bold storytelling and emerging filmmakers, Lionsgate gradually earned a reputation as a studio willing to support unique creative voices. This reputation became a key part of its identity, helping it stand out in an industry where risk-taking wasn't always the norm. As the company expanded into the United States, it began producing more of its own content, steadily building a catalog of films and television properties. Rather than chasing massive budgets right away, Lionsgate focused on smart investments, projects that could perform well without requiring blockbuster-level spending. This disciplined strategy allowed the studio to grow sustainably while learning how to navigate Hollywood's complex landscape. Over time, its library of films became one of its most valuable assets, giving the company leverage and stability as it moved toward larger productions. The early 2000s marked a turning point. Lionsgate started gaining attention for releasing films that pushed boundaries, especially in genres like horror and thriller. These projects often had modest budgets but strong concepts, proving that compelling storytelling could deliver major returns. By the time the studio began developing its own franchise properties, Lionsgate had already laid a solid foundation, one built on independence, adaptability, and a clear understanding of its audience. What began as a small Canadian-founded studio was steadily evolving into a serious player in global entertainment, setting the stage for the major breakthroughs that would soon define its future. As Lionsgate moved beyond its early years of acquisitions and independent releases, the studio realized that long-term success in Hollywood often comes from one key element: franchises. While many major studios relied on established intellectual properties and massive budgets, Lionsgate took a different approach. It focused on mid-budget films with strong concepts and memorable characters, projects that had the potential to grow into series. This strategy paid off in a big way, launching Lionsgate into global recognition and transforming it from a rising studio into a major player. One of the earliest and most important breakthroughs came with the Saw franchise. Released in 2004, the first film was made on a relatively small budget, but became a huge box office success. Its intense storytelling, shocking twists, and unique style quickly built a dedicated fan base. Lionsgate recognized the potential and turned Saw into an annual horror event for several years, generating massive profits and proving that a well-managed franchise could deliver consistent returns. The success of Saw didn't just boost revenue, it established Lionsgate as a studio that could create and sustain profitable series without blockbuster-level spending. Then came the franchise that changed everything, The Hunger Games. Based on Suzanne Collins' best-selling novels, the film adaptation released in 2012 and became an instant global phenomenon. With its mix of action, drama, and social commentary, The Hunger Games connected with audiences worldwide and elevated Lionsgate into the ranks of top-tier studios. The series grossed billions at the box office and demonstrated that Lionsgate could handle large-scale productions while maintaining strong storytelling. The success of Katniss Everdeen's journey reshaped the studio's identity, proving it could compete with Hollywood's biggest names. Not long after, Lionsgate struck gold again with the John Wick franchise. Starting in 2014, the action series introduced audiences to a stylized world of assassins and intense choreography. What began as a modestly budgeted film grew into one of the most respected action franchises of modern cinema. With each sequel, John Wick expanded its universe and fan base, showing that Lionsgate had mastered the art of nurturing franchises over time. Through these successes, Lionsgate built a powerful strategy, invest in strong concepts, support creative filmmakers, and grow stories into long-lasting franchises. By balancing risk and vision, the studio created a stable foundation for future projects. Its ability to turn individual films into cultural phenomena not only secured financial success, but also cemented Lionsgate's place as a studio capable of shaping global pop culture. As Lionsgate's film franchises brought global recognition, the studio understood that the future of entertainment extended far beyond the movie theater. The industry was changing rapidly. Audiences were no longer watching stories on just one screen, and streaming platforms were beginning to reshape how content was distributed and consumed. Rather than resisting this shift, Lionsgate leaned into it. The studio expanded into television production, digital platforms, and international markets, transforming itself into a multi-platform entertainment company. Lionsgate Television became a major part of this expansion. The studio produced a wide range of series across genres, from dramas and comedies to action and thrillers, working with networks and streaming services around the world. By entering television, Lionsgate gained the ability to tell longer-form stories and build relationships with audiences over multiple seasons. This move also created new opportunities for franchise extensions, allowing certain properties to grow beyond the big screen and into episodic storytelling. At the same time, Lionsgate embraced the rise of streaming. The company formed partnerships with major streaming platforms to distribute its films and shows globally, ensuring that its content could reach viewers wherever they were. It also invested in its own digital initiatives, exploring ways to deliver content directly to audiences. This flexibility helped Lionsgate stay competitive in an industry where viewing habits were constantly evolving. By not tying itself to a single distribution model, the studio remained adaptable and forward-thinking. International expansion also played a key role. Lionsgate worked to distribute films across global markets and collaborate with international creators, recognizing that storytelling was becoming increasingly worldwide. This global mindset allowed the studio to reach new audiences and strengthen its brand beyond North America. Through television, streaming, and global partnerships, Lionsgate proved that it was more than just a film studio. It was a modern entertainment company built for a new era. By expanding its reach and embracing change, Lionsgate ensured that its stories could live on multiple platforms, connecting with audiences in more ways than ever before. One of the defining traits of Lionsgate Studios is its bold and distinctive approach to storytelling. Unlike many major studios that prioritize broad commercial appeal or franchise formulas, Lionsgate has consistently embraced stories with emotional intensity, moral complexity, and high stakes. From its early independent releases to its blockbuster franchises, the studio's identity is rooted in risk-taking and a willingness to explore darker or unconventional themes. This creative philosophy has shaped every aspect of its film and television slate. Horror and thriller have always been core to Lionsgate's storytelling style. The Saw franchise, beginning in 2004, is a perfect example. Its gruesome traps, psychological twists, and complex villain mythology set apart from traditional horror films. Similarly, The Cabin in the Woods subverted genre expectations, blending meta-humor with terrifying suspense. These films reflect Lionsgate's willingness to take creative risks and invest in stories that are provocative, challenging, and memorable. At the same time, the studio excels at action storytelling with depth. The John Wick series demonstrates how strong character development and world building can elevate genre films. While the series features elaborate fight choreography and stylized violence, it is grounded in the motivations and emotional journeys of its characters. This balance of spectacle and storytelling is a hallmark of Lionsgate's approach, showing that the studio prioritizes both audience engagement and narrative substance. Lionsgate has also made a significant mark in young adult and dystopian storytelling. The Hunger Games franchise exemplifies the studio's skill at combining epic world building with relatable characters and social commentary. Katniss Everdeen's struggle against oppressive systems resonated globally, highlighting Lionsgate's ability to craft stories that are emotionally compelling, culturally relevant, and commercially successful. Other adaptations, such as Divergent, followed a similar approach, reinforcing the studio's brand in young adult, high-stakes drama. Beyond genre storytelling, Lionsgate supports creative voices in drama and prestige projects. Films like Monsters Ball, which earned Halle Berry an Academy Award in La La Land, distributed internationally by Lionsgate, show the studio's commitment to artistic quality alongside commercial projects. By balancing independent, character-driven films with blockbuster franchises, Lionsgate has created a diverse portfolio that appeals to multiple audience segments. A key element of Lionsgate's identity is its support for filmmakers. Directors, writers, and producers are often given room to shape their vision, resulting in films with unique tones and voices. This willingness to back creativity, whether in horror, action, drama, or dystopian storytelling, has allowed Lionsgate to stand out in a crowded entertainment landscape. Audiences come to expect intensity, emotional stakes, and originality from the studio, creating a strong brand identity that remains recognizable across decades of releases. Ultimately, Lionsgate's storytelling style reflects its independent roots and commitment to bold, memorable narratives. Whether through suspenseful horror, action-packed thrillers, or thought-provoking dramas, the studio has consistently delivered stories that engage audiences and push creative boundaries. Its ability to combine risk-taking, character-driven storytelling, and franchise development ensures that Lionsgate remains a distinctive and influential voice in global cinema. Interesting facts. Did you know that Lionsgate got its name from a bridge? Yep, the Lionsgate Bridge in Vancouver, Canada, inspired the studio's name, a nod to its roots before it became a Hollywood powerhouse. And speaking of power, Lionsgate is a horror legend. The Saw franchise started on a shoestring budget in 2004, but went on to become one of the most profitable horror series ever. Talk about turning fear into fortune. But Lionsgate didn't stop at horror. The Hunger Games films took the world by storm, grossing over $3 billion globally. Katniss Everdeen didn't just spark a rebellion in Panem. She helped put Lionsgate on the blockbuster map. Action fans, take note. The John Wick universe isn't just stylish fight scenes. It's a full-blown cinematic world with sequels, spin-offs, and even video games in the works. Lionsgate knows how to keep fans coming back for more. And when it comes to small screens, Lionsgate isn't slacking either. Hit series like Mad Men, Orange is the New Black, and Power prove that the studio can create TV hits just as compelling as its films. Here's a fun one. Lionsgate was an early adopter of streaming and digital distribution. They saw the future of content before most studios did, making sure their films and series reached audiences everywhere, from theaters to living rooms across the globe. Finally, don't forget the awards. While many know Lionsgate for action and horror, the studio also backs critically acclaimed dramas. Monsters Ball earned Halle Berry an Oscar, and La La Land earned multiple Academy Awards internationally. So the next time you see that roaring lion logo on screen, remember, it's not just a logo. It's a symbol of a studio that started small, took bold risks, and grew into a global entertainment powerhouse. Lionsgate Studios, the independent upstart that roared its way into Hollywood and became a global entertainment powerhouse. From the spine-chilling traps of Saw to the rebellion of the Hunger Games and the high-octane action of John Wick, Lionsgate has proven time and again that bold storytelling, creative risk-taking, and smart franchise building can leave a lasting mark on cinema. Beyond films, the studio's expansion into television with hits like Mad Men, Orange is the New Black, and Power shows how it continues to innovate and reach audiences across platforms. And with a track record of embracing new trends, like digital distribution and streaming, Lionsgate remains a studio that adapts, evolves, and continues to tell stories that audiences want to experience again and again. So the next time you see that roaring lion on the screen, remember, it's more than a logo. It's a symbol of creativity, ambition, and a studio that isn't afraid to take risks, shape new worlds, and keep viewers on the edge of their seats. Thanks for joining us on this episode of Cinema Uncovered. If you enjoyed this behind-the-scenes look at Lionsgate Studios, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you won't miss our next cinematic deep dive. Until next time, keep watching, keep discovering, and keep uncovering the stories behind the screen.